still the 22nd. The wind's blowing out here at Red Rocks. We come out here to blow the shofar to go along with some of the other things we're going to be talking about. So here we are at Red Rocks. We came out here to do that, and we're going to do a little video here. We're going to explain some of our ideas on what's happening today. So I'm going to turn this off for right now because of the wind, but we'll be back in a couple of seconds.
We might be over in Bundy's Ranch where it's nice and quiet and cozy.
Yes. Here we are at Bonnie Springs, Nevada, right at the base of these huge mountains. Little place here called Old Nevada. But anyway, we're going to be here for a few minutes, see if we can do our video here. A little different spot. Let you see the inside of this bar and restaurant. It's really kind of cool, actually. If you ever want a place to go, this and up in Mount Charleston are really like this. They're very rustic. Okay, I think we're going to go to a little corner back here if we can find one. Sorry about shaking the camera there. See what we can do here as far as giving you a little information that we're concerned about. Yeah, this corner looks good. This is where we'll do it, I think. Okay, it's still April 22nd, of course, and you'll hear some background music and some other things. Just a little background here. You know how I am. I like to tell you what I'm going to say and then tell you what I told you. And that's kind of what's happening here. Look, we've been telling you for a long time that there's a war going on inside our own government between differing factions. We saw it just in a video clip I did the other day about disagreements and discord in the Department of Justice alone. So what we're going to do today is talk about how money is involved in all this. And Brand's going to tell you about something that's going on in the government that's very important. The government's being divided along lines of international banking and the petrodollar. For instance, you have Hillary Clinton and the people with the European aristocracy that are going that way, and then you have people like, even in the Democratic Party, people like Obama and Reid that are going to the Chinese. And this is starting to cause a real rift in the government that's extremely dangerous for all of us. So this goes down with the very alphabet agencies, the way they're dividing up and arguing, and it's opening up some avenues for us to understand that this really is the time when the wicked are thirsting after the blood of their wicked friends. And this is going to spill over to the rest of us. So without any further ado, I'll give you to Brand, and then we'll talk again for just a minute.
Hello, folks. I hope I can do a good job with this. It's a fairly convoluted subject, but you know, we've been reading the tea leaves. It's become very obvious to, you know, it's kind of hidden in plain sight, but you know, that's why you got to read the tea leaves sometimes. I've been thinking a lot about this phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I don't know if you remember that last year Hillary Clinton made a public statement that the Chinese were going to pay for what they have done. Well, what they had done at that time is they signed a pact with Russia, Japan, and a few others to go to a gold standard, to go to the yuan. The Chinese had put this collateralized account together of 750,000 tons of gold, and they're in the process of issuing currency, and which is nothing but facilitating the demise of the petrodollar. Well, here a few weeks ago, it's been all over the news that Reid was exposed for some business transactions with the Chinese. And interesting enough, this is facilitating and helping the power structure of the Chinese, because one of the things the Chinese need really, really bad is they got to be able to feed their people. If you don't feed your people, you're not going to control them. We saw what happened just last week when they brought a heavy hand down on a watermelon farmer in one of the provinces there in China, and they ended up killing him. For the police officer ended up killing him. Well, the rest of the Chinese in that town attacked them and killed them. So this is, more and more is reaching the breaking point with them. So what you have here is you have Reid and Obama that are now, they have these shifting alliances. I think this was Obama's ace in the hole. Everybody knows Obama's a Muslim, but what was he doing dealing and working with the elite white European aristocracy, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, whom he's always considered to be his enemy? Well, if you watch some of our video clips from a month or so ago...
Can I interrupt there?
Sure, go ahead.
However, they helped to get him where he is, and now he's double-crossed them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how we're looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was his ace in the hole, I believe, all along, because he said that he would always stand with his people. So, if you wonder what happened in that Syrian conflict and why all of a sudden it's just become on the back burner, is because, I believe, his allegiance, he finally decided to completely change his allegiance away from the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Interesting enough, we came up with another alternative motive for the killing of Ambassador Christensen.
Stevens.
Everybody was saying in the third-party news that they felt like it was because he discovered that there were arms dealings and that he wanted to put a stop to it. I think it was just the opposite. Now that he was facilitating it, and they wanted to put an end to it, and the Obama regime had him killed because there's a shifting of an alliance there. So they're working their way away from the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, and as Roy said, this is going to cause a rift all the way through up to the White House, because Hillary and some others there, they were aligned with the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, have been for a long time. So then all of a sudden, you've got this Obama and you have Reid, and they are working with the Chinese and giving them what they actually need as far as collateral to keep their whole thing going. So it looks like things are really starting. I actually had a phone call from a old missionary companion. He was in the mission field at the same time I was. He saw me on the news and come to find out he's worked for the CIA for a long time. And he didn't tell me that right up front, but he just asked me, he said, "Hey, I saw you on the news, what was going on there?" And I rehearsed the whole thing back to him, and then he told me, he said, "Well, Elder," we still call each other Elder after all these years. He said, "Elder, well, I got something you might want to hear." And he said, "There's a lot of chatter that's going on here, and it's all seemed to be concentrating on your senator there, Reid." I said, "Really?" I said, "Anything you can tell me?" He said, "Well, not at this time." And I don't know if he ever will, but I said, "Well, listen, Elder, if you can keep me in mind, if we need protection, please send it along the way, because Roy and I have both been being followed. We know it for sure today. We had a Metro Police Department helicopter. Roy spotted it first. I was like, nah, he's just going by." I no sooner said that, he turned right, just immediately turned right around, came right back over us and
Circle us.
circled us. So I'm like, yeah, no, they're following us. They're watching.
And that's not the first time that's happened with the Metro chopper.
No, it's not the first time.
So I took my phone out and took the battery out again.
It's getting to be fairly routine. I think they're still fairly confused. Gillespie needs to understand that this could turn really bad for him real fast.
Yeah, and if I can get you to say this, Brand, who would go after Reid? Who would go after Gillespie in this situation?
Well,
It's not going to be the militia. It's not going to be conservatives. It's going to be the people that they're supposed to help, and they're not.
Yeah, all the people that were aligned with the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and even the NATO treaty that was entered into a long time ago. So you got Interpol agents from all around the world. You've got CIA. You've got M5. You've got potentially even FBI agents here. I mean, there's a litany of different people that could be called to put a hit on this man. So
yeah, not us. Not us. This is the people that the European nobility that doesn't take kindly to this type of betrayal.
Yes, and that's exactly the way they look at it. They look at this as a full-scale betrayal. That incident at the Bundy Ranch has exposed this, has blown it up. It's all over the world. I'm sure when they saw this, they raised more than just a few eyebrows. And Harry Reid and Gillespie, I think you guys got yourself in a ringer that's going to be hard to get out of. Your only real chance is to declare yourself as Americans and side with Americans.
And tell the story.
Yeah, don't side with the Chinese. Don't side with the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. You side with Americans. One other thing I want to mention about the Chinese, they don't forget. They still
remember the Opium Wars.
They still remember the Opium Wars, where the British went in there and actually slaughtered those people, and they've never forgotten. That's kind of that old school mentality of Europe and the Middle East. They never ever forget, and rightly so, because those industries, those banking industries that existed at that time, they exist to this day. See, and then you've got those emperors and those royal families in China, they got this heritage that goes on forever and ever and ever. So nothing has changed. That's very important to understand.
And this also explains why the sudden shift of Obama from invading these so-called Muslim countries to embracing them, like making deals with Iran now. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this whole Ukrainian thing is a diversion, because I think that they're actually, obviously, if Obama has switched sides then to the Chinese, then the Russians are their allies. So this whole Ukrainian thing may have actually been a pay to the Russians to show Obama's solidarity with them, to give them what they wanted. I think that's almost what we're looking at this point.
Now look at his resignations. Hillary Clinton resigned. What happened to her over there in Iran when her jet was forced down and it actually crashed, and she got a concussion out of it?
And a SEAL was killed in that crash.
Navy SEAL was killed. What's going on there? And of all places to get forced down, Iran. And now we got Eric Holder is resigning. And they don't hear anything from Bill Clinton anymore. More and more they're becoming more and more silent, because the shifting alliances, they're all looking over their shoulder. It's just like any mafioso organization. When they have these disruptions, they don't know who to trust. They don't know who's standing behind them, getting ready to shoot them in the back. And that's exactly what's happening at this time.
Yes, and scripturally, it's very similar to where it says the wicked shall destroy the wicked. So the rest of us just need to keep our guard up, keep our self-defense up, and stay out of the way if you can.
Just stay out of the way.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, and this is supposed to be a family type of program, of course, too. But this place is just so funny. They do bring their kids in here. It just seemed funny to me. Maybe it's sending a subliminal message out there too, as well. So that's the story that we wanted to give you today. That there is this rift in the government. It goes far deeper and far broader than most people understand. These international relations things are built on money. You follow the money, as you've often heard, and then you start uncovering these types of things. So it's very possible that our government, the central government, as I said before, is going to tear itself apart, leaving the states and local governments to try to deal with the chaos. I'll go into a little bit more of that later, but hopefully they'll leave the citizens alone. They won't turn the state apparatus on us to try to control the situation in a way that's harmful to us. So it's going to be bad enough, but we don't need them to be turning their barrels on us either, as they did at Bundy Ranch. Okay, out here.
Wow, what a peacock. You probably can't see the colors really well because of the light here. It's in the shadow. But it's blue, green, pink. There it goes. Wow. Is that a peacock or is that a peacock? Huh.